No one ever becomes good at fighting by doing this, and don't be the guy who does this. Very rarely, if ever, I can't even think of an example, does someone just decide, you know what, I want to do MMA and be a fighter, and then they go to a gym and then suddenly they're a fighter. Why does this type of person fail at this and other things? It's because they love the idea of doing it. They've set this idea, oh, I'm going to be a fighter. They get a little giddy high in the head. The idea is running through the head of being a fighter in a cage, winning fights, whatever. And then when they actually get to doing the action, coming to a gym, within 2 or 3 practices, it's not meeting their expectations. They don't have the attention span for drills, and maybe they don't like when they're mounted and someone's chest is in their face and they can't really breathe. These people are in love with the idea of it, but then they don't really transcend to actually being able to do the action day in, day out. Then next week they'll be like, I want to be the best pastry chef in Redcar in Cleveland. And they'll love the idea of that. Then they'll be like, oh no, I can't fold phyllo pastry all day. Oh, this short crust's falling apart and it's so difficult to handle. Never works like that. People who do really well, just maybe they have a Wednesday evening free, their friend gets them into it, they see on the timetable, okay, that's a class, it's interesting, I might do it. And then they come to maybe an MMA class. And they're doing the class with no expectations. They're just going through it, doing what the coaches say. They're just interested. And they do the class. And then suddenly they go away from the class interested. I didn't really know that position could exist and people could fight like that way or take people down that way. I didn't really know that worked. And then they'll see the timetable again and they'll look at, say, kickboxing class. Kickboxing class. Kicks. That could be interesting. I'll have a little go of that. And then they just go into the kickboxing class with no expectations. They practice low kicks, blocking low kicks, whatever. And then suddenly from the class, they've got a load of questions and there's just this curiosity. How do we do this? How do we do that? Can this type of thing happen? And then suddenly within 6 months, they're coming every single day just because they're endlessly curious about how these techniques work and how to train. It's curiosity is the main thing. It's kind of like dropping a frog in cold water and slowly making it boiling, slowly heating the water up. They don't realize they're actually obsessed with it until it's time to fight. Like 3 years go by and they think, I'd do this every day. This is mad. When I started back into mixed martial arts, I had zero intentions of becoming Cage Warriors champion and trying to go for the UFC. I just watched John Wick 2 and I thought, you know what, I never really trained in the gi. I want to train in the gi because there was a lot of cool arm bars and a lot of cool omoplatas in this film. I want to do a lot of them and just pretend I'm John Wick. I'll get back in the gym with my brother. Oh yeah, that'll be a good bit of fun. I'll do it once, maybe twice a week at a push. And then suddenly, within 6 months' time, I was back in there every day, re-watching Demetrius Johnson fights on loop. So don't be the guy who loves the idea of doing it. Be the guy who actually loves